Like for me, I always thought Beats by the Pound was like one of the greatest production teams ever. And
God,
when I listen back to it now, I can admit maybe some of Beats by the Pounds wasn't the best. I
it was
mean,
garbage.
I ain't gonna say it would. It just don't stand the test of time. I'll just put it to you
It
like that.
was garbage.
Some of it
Nobody can
do.
remember. We couldn't do a top
Huh?
five beats by the pound
Yeah,
list
we
right
No,
now.
not
yeah
at
we
all, sir.
well it would be anything on No Limit because they pretty much just use them for No Limit music. Like yeah, so I mean
I
it would be.
never, I never understood No Limits appeal. I never liked them. I thought they sucked, except for Mystical. Everybody else was horrible.
I don't know about that. Uh,
What? Who else was
top
good?
five, top five no limit artists.
Who else
uh
was
Number
good?
five, Mercedes.
Who?
Young Bleed.
What?
Mac. That shell shocked album should have won a Grammy.
Shell shot.
No,
No.
it was like it was some people on the label that
Who, man?
like,
Who? Like
but in
seriously?
all seriousness,
Who?
Young
Other
Bleed,
than Mystical, who?
Fiend.
Who?
Mr. Servo.
Smith,
He was horrible, man.
Snoop
Cain
Dogg.
and Abel.
Who? Snoop. Okay, that don't count. Snoop Dogg.
No,
He came later. He is
Snoop
not an
Dogg.
original No Limit soldier. Y'all know that.
Snoop Dogg on No Limit was Michael Jordan with a Wizards jersey on, man.
Yeah, y'all. Pretty much.
All right.
But
Well,
other than Mystical, name me somebody whose verses were just incredible.
okay, I'm gonna do it, and then I gotta start the show. Okay,
All right.
Silk the Shocker.
Yes!
And welcome into the Barber Shop 918. You up in here with your man Big Drew,
Big Drew.
J Rock,
Boss. Boom.
Oh, what was that?
and the one and only Raw Dog.
Arr, arr.
All right, we got a jam-packed show for you today. We're going to hit you with our
Back with
final
jam, baby.
and a little bit of jelly.
That's right.
Yeah, still jelly. All right. We're going to talk about, in the NBA segment, we're going to talk about the All-Star announcement. We know who the starters are. And, yeah, whatever. We'll talk about it because we should. And we might, I'm not promising it, but we might need Jesse. We might need Jesse. I don't know.
We need Jesse.
We might need him.
We need Jesse.
Jesse.
All right. Also, we got a little bit of NFL talk coming your way. The Steelers got a lot of different things going on in their front office. And it's a lot of shade being thrown. So we're going to talk about that. And also, we're going to talk about that game, that Vikings game, and everything that kind of went on with it. And
Great game.
it was. Of course, we got our world famous Thunda Talk with that Thunda.
Thunda.
Yes. And you know what? Word on the street, as always, is good.
Word on the street.
Mm.
It's the sweet one.
Yes. Yes. All right, but as for right now, 2
I
weeks
get
in
emotional.
he needs a minute. He's
All right. Let's get back to it. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
all right. So for the second week in a row, we're gonna hit you with a headline.
Cha-cha. Cha-cha.
That's really bad, man.
That's never
You
how.
come up with nothing else better than that? What about the typewriter? What happened to the typewriter? We're not
Headlines.
gonna be able to put this on YouTube because that's Entertainment Tonight, man.
Headlines.
All right, just go on, man.
All right.
Go on, sir.
So this week the headline is all about it ain't even NBA related. That's why we couldn't put it in the NBA because it happened after a game, and we couldn't even use "We Need Jesse" because then nobody throw a hit. So the Houston Rockets versus the Los Angeles Clippers is now a new big rivalry. And anywhere Patrick Beverly is, crime is sure to be right behind him. So somehow this is Patrick Beverly's fault. I know it. But the story, Jay, give us the backstory. Give people the backstory for people who may not have heard what's going on.
Okay, as you all know, Chris Paul was traded in the offseason. It was a blockbuster deal. Chris Paul was sent to the Houston Rockets. The Rockets pretty much sent their whole team. Montreal, Harrell, Lou Williams, Patrick Beverly, Sam Decker, a draft pick. They pretty much sent the whole team out west. And so when all this was going on, they interviewed Chris Paul about it. He was saying that there was some rift with Doc Rivers. and that he had some beef with Austin Rivers, and Austin Rivers was like, well, we didn't want him here anyway, type of deal, kind of like throwing shade. So the game happened on Monday. As the game was going on, Blake Griffin, who was very emotional because he re-signed with the team, and he had an incident with Trevor Ariza where he got his uniform ripped or something, and they ended up both getting ejected. So after the game was over with, like the first report, it was James Harden and Chris Paul fighting each other, but they were the peacemakers. But the Rockets, Chris Paul, I'm guessing he sent Gerald Green and Trevor Ariza through a secret back way to the locker room in the Staples Center because he played there for 6 years, and then they had their Swiss center, Clint Capella, is that his name?
Clint Capella.
Clint Capella went to knock on the door. I don't know if he was asking for brown sugar or whatnot to try to distract them, but it was about to be a fight. And it was a lot going on. With, if you went back and watched the tape, Austin Rivers was doing a lot of talking with a boot on his foot. Patrick Beverly with a knee brace on talking a lot of mess. Blake Griffin they wanted to be invited to his birthday party. But it looked like these teams don't like each other. They play each other again on February 28th, but it was just funny seeing that a punch was not thrown and all of a sudden these teams hate each other.
Well, I think the part that's most disturbing to me, and I think it's a little bit of hypocrisy here, is the factor that Trevor Ariza and Green, two less known names, got a suspension when there were clearly two other parties involved on the Rockets team, and they got no suspension at all. And James Harden, and I get the story comes out now that Chris Paul and James Harden were the peacemakers, but at the center of all of this mess is Chris Paul. And
just like any real gangster, you're not the one that's going to go do the crime. You send somebody else to do it so that your hands are clean. So James Harden and CP3, some serious OGs to send the lesser-known goons
okay,
to go and not fight.
So Trevor Ariza's not a goon. Now, maybe the four-finger discount. I give you Green, maybe, just because he looked like Juvenile. But overall,
like he's still.
None of them say like if I'm looking in that locker room and I'm thinking who's gonna go over there and scare somebody, not them. I'm not. But it is what it is.
There wasn't any punches thrown. I'm like, well, what was really the whole point?
Yeah,
I don't understand. If you're gonna take the time to go through the hidden tunnel, go over there and punch somebody, man.
Yeah,
anyway,
they went through the Underground Railroad. Didn't do anything.
Yeah, that's not the like those back in the day, like when Kermit Washington and Rudy T was playing, people got hurt for real, real hurt, and now you got
some old pansy stuff now, man.
They use the Trojan horse thing, and they sent one dude over as a diversion so they could sneak in. Like,
can you imagine when Chris Paul and James Harden was waiting back at the locker room when they came out like, so what happened, man? What happened? What happened? Did y'all do anything? Oh, man, I didn't do nothing.
And they called the police.
And and here's the thing, you got Trevor Ariza being used like your boy, like the light-skinned dude from the bank, the light-skinned brother from the bank.
Kareem.
Yeah.
Kareem Akbar.
Look at him. Look at him.
I could imagine that's all Chris Paul did when he had to sit before Kiki Vandeweghe and all the rest of the committee. He probably just ratted out Trevor. It's all Trevor. He's
the dumb brother from the bank.
He runs all of this.
This is his operation. I got a whole list of names I'm bringing down with me.
Trevor, Gerald.
Hey, but in the back of my mind, I really wanted somebody to smack Austin Rivers. I just don't like him. He's light skinned. He only reason why he's on the team is because of his daddy. I just don't like the brother.
So why was that the first thing that came out your mind? He light skinned.
Yeah. This ain't helping relations here. Like we gotta learn to
get.
This civil war must stop.
Has to. All right, so that's enough of the headline. The cha-cha. Come on, sir, so I can end the headline.
Hey.
Headline.
No,
cha-cha.
All right.
Cha-cha.
I'm getting frustrated.
Okay, well, let me do something to calm you down. It's now time for the word on the street.
Word on street. It's the sweet one.
It's,
Woo!
That boy good. I tell you, that boy good.
I don't know why I don't have a deal, man. I don't get it.
He need to win a hoodie or something.
yeah.
Man,
I need Beats by the pound to hook me up with some beats.
Okay. They actually they meats by the pound. They drive around in that truck selling steaks and stuff to your grandma.
bad meat out the back of their truck.
Meats by the pound.
They got a 96 Tahoe that they still paying on. That's what P gave them for making all those beats, man.
Hey, Manny Fresh, I need you, man. I need you in the studio, Manny. I need you, man. Come holler at a player, man.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Didn't Manny look like he was like the middle of a transformation?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm not gonna go there.
he
with y'all
definitely.
today, man.
We've talked about this before. He looks like a stud. Yeah.
He does.
Butch Reed.
So
Butch
He
Reed.
does.
the Billboard news. J Rock, give us the music news on the word on the street.
Look like a
Word on the street. Co-
That was a good one, Drew.
Don't put my name on that one.
Coming in at number 9, Honcho Jack. That's Quavo and Travis Scott. Number 8, Kendrick Lamar. Damn. Number 7, Eminem, Revival. Number 5, Post Malone, Stoney. And like I said last week, coming in at number 4, Bruno Mars, 24 Karat Magic.
It's going back up, right?
Man.
Yeah, it's went up 11 spots because of the remix with Cardi B.
How long has it been on the charts, though?
It's been on the charts for 60 weeks.
God.
And see, that's the charts
great
are
numbers right there.
the charts are made out of something different now because they add in like the streaming numbers and stuff like
Yeah.
that. That's how people, because back in the day, like once a CD was purchased, it was purchased. You know, like you weren't gonna go up and down on the charts like that. So, and
Well, Michael Jackson's Thriller did.
yeah, that's probably the only one that probably because there were really like everyone. It was a requirement. If you were breathing, you had to buy that album. So
Or
At least
the album
twice.
and the cassette. You
yeah,
had to have one. You had to have both.
yeah,
Because you couldn't play the album in the car.
we take your word for it.
And
So fuck with that.
G-Eazy in last.
Look it out, Drew.
G-Eazy came in at number 3, The Beautiful and the Damned.
I'm sorry.
And
Who?
that's the Bill.
What's the-
G-Eazy.
What's the artist name again?
G-Eazy.
G-Eazy.
His name is
He's
G.
he's a
Easy.
Caucasian.
Yeah, I
G-
saw him on Saturday Night Live this past week, and I was
Oh,
disappointed.
yeah,
I was
seen that.
disappointed because I was like, "Oh, Jeezy's gonna be on," and then it was.
Oh, you thought it was Young Jeezy?
Yeah, I was like, "Ah," and then nope.
If Young Jeezy was playing that part, that would have been hilarious.
That's why I was just kind of like, "All right," but
That would have been funny. Him and Halsey, that would have been hilarious.
yeah. All right,
And that's my Billboard numbers for the week.
all right. So
Dizzle.
yeah, go ahead, Raw Dog. With the
My
movies.
bad, Drew. My bad, Drew.
It's okay. No, you usually do that. No, he does. He does. He usually kicks it to you. That's my fault. I'm stepping on toes.
All right, so we got a couple of dramas that's coming out this week. One of them is called 12 Strong. I don't know if y'all have seen the commercials for this one. This is one about the 12 guys that's like right after 9/11. They were the ones that were supposed to go to Afghanistan to specifically get Osama bin Laden. Well, there's a whole story about it. If you like military movies, 12 Strong looks like that might be the one. But then there's another one coming out that looks real interesting called Den of Thieves. This is one with 50 in it.
Yeah.
O'Shea Jackson Jr., which is Cube's son. And it looks like a really, really tight crime saga, crime drama or whatever. To me, it may be better as a rental, but hey, man, if you're going to be at the movies, go ahead.
It looked like it was a script written for Cube, and they couldn't get Cube, or Cube was like, "Hey, man, just take my son. I'm busy right now."
Yeah,
Because that guy
does.
Cube all over it. That just seemed like that's his line. It's like Triple X Part 3, or
Yeah. It
it's
seems that way, doesn't it?
it's a
I don't
Cube.
know how 50 got into that one. How did 50 get into that one?
Ice-T Ice-T didn't want it, obviously, and
You know Young Buck turned that down, man. That's the only reason why 50 was in it.
I want to rob this bank so bad.
Hey, man, Young Buck never recovered from the crying fit he had that one time when 50 Cent recorded him and then played it to everybody.
No, you should.
Y'all remember that?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
remember it. And he went back with G Unit after that.
Yeah, but he's never recovered from that. He ain't had a song played on the radio since then. Cause you can't be a thug and crying to your boy like, man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was my quarterback. You can't do that. You can't do that.
Yeah,
Oh.
sucker.
It sounds like.
All right. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, so the box office for last weekend, number 5. First of all, Star Wars is out of the top 5. Believe it or not. Number 5 is Insidious: The Last Key, made $12 million. Number 4, The Greatest Showman, made $12 million. Number 3 is The Commuter. That's the one I talked about where I'm getting sick of Liam Neeson and all these movies where he's on something traveling.
Yeah, that's
he
pretty
got me
much.
to
Yeah.
save everybody. Yeah. Hit number 3. Number 2 is The Post, which is weird because it was number 15 last week. So I don't know how in the world it made the number 2 this week. It's really weird. Really weird.
You mean to tell me Proud Mary is number 1? Is that what you're trying to tell me right now,
Yes.
Raw Dog?
Yes.
Oh my God, it
Yes.
worked. They were giving out tickets in perm boxes. I didn't think that would work, but it worked. Oh, congratulations.
And number 1 is Jumanji.
What?
What?
Welcome to the Jungle with The Rock and Kevin Hart, made $28 million. Proud Mary came in number 8 with $9 million. Now, I told y'all this was going to happen. Didn't I tell y'all this was going to happen? What did I say about Proud Mary? Y'all remember? Class? Bueller?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember? Yeah.
Well, number 8 ain't bad. It ain't bad. Number 8's not that bad.
Number 8's very bad when you consider how much money they put into the advertising.
Well, think about
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Think about the number 2 movie was 15 last week, and now it's 8. I mean, now it's number 2.
That movie has some very, very famous Caucasians in it. Okay, Proud Mary ain't going up to number 2, man.
You telling me Danny Glover can't move the meter like he used to back in '87 with Lethal Weapon 1, 2, and 3?
I don't think Danny Glover had anything to do with those moving. I think that was more Mel
Color
Gibson.
Purple?
That was more Whoopi Goldberg.
Mister? What else did Danny Glover play?
I didn't go to see Danny Glover. Who says, man, I gotta see this new Danny Glover movie? Who says that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say Beloved?
Yeah, Beloved.
That is one of the creepiest movies, man.
You watched Beloved, the whole thing?
Dude,
it's like 5 hours long.
I cut it off when the girl said, touch me on the inside parts, and I was just like, I was like, I'm done. And then I ended up watching it again, and it was just like, it's
Oprah's freakiest movie ever.
It was from a book or something, and
yeah. And she stayed true to the book. She didn't like clean up nothing.
It's some movies that you see because there's black people in them, and then later on you regret it. I feel that way about Eve's Bayou. I am completely uncomfortable with that movie, and yet black stars tend to play it like every week, like it's a requirement.
Yeah. When you watch Eve's Bayou, you go, something's not quite right with this movie, and I don't feel right that I'm watching it.
Yeah.
That's how I feel watching Penitentiary 1, 2, and 3.
You shut your mouth about 3.
When was the last time you actually watched Penitentiary 1, 2, or 3, sir? You even remember?
2015, when we first started talking about it.
Yeah, we talked about Penitentiary quite a bit, so he had to do research. The trailer for Penitentiary 3, though, man.
What was the name of the midget in Penitentiary 3? What was the name? What was his name?
I don't know.
Remember?
Was it Sweet Feet?
No, man, that was the other guy's name.
One Sweet.
It was too sweet.
It was one sweet because he's half.
It was sweet because he was little.
Yeah. All right.
And
shut
then
up.
too sweet, and the midget got like friends and stuff. I don't know, man.
It was
Midget.
we gonna offend one group a week. So if you watch the Barber Shop 918, I was offensive to Asians last week. I admit that. This week they prefer. They don't. You know what? Only thing we can do is move on. It's time for us to talk about television. So on TV, with TV news, it was another good Blackish episode. They talked about The Talk, which was a Procter & Gamble ad campaign that came out last year. And it kind of it was on the internet, and it got a lot of backlash. People were not happy about it. and I'm
White
glad.
folks was mad.
Yeah,
White folks was real mad.
because some of them weren't aware of the talk. Now, how do you say his first name? Is it Kenya Burris? He was, he was very excited to take on the topic in a way where he introduced it to all segments of society. Say, no, you all have a talk. Everyone has had that type of talk. So I can appreciate Blackish's spin on it, and it also it helps normalize some of the feelings and emotions that I think a lot of white America may think that Black America is making up. Like, you don't have to tell your kids this. No, we do. Just like there's some things you feel you need to tell your children. So I appreciated that episode a lot.
Great episode. Great writing. Great writing. And they don't never lose at the NAACP Awards.
No, they should.
They win every single year.
Undefeated.
But they don't ever win at all the other awards.
Are they even invited to the other awards? Oh, okay, I ain't know that they were
invited. They get nominated, but they're never going to win.
And they sit in the back with Issa Rae. That's all I'm gonna say. I see how they do us.
Yeah. And so, speaking of Black television, we've got a new Black superhero with Black Lightning making his debut. Which the whole episode I said is Khadijah's boyfriend.
It is. That's what was his Scooter?
Yeah. That's all I know, man.
But here's the thing.
I don't even know. That's all we can say.
When I saw the previews and the commercials, I was like, oh, this is gonna be corny, boy. Because I never liked Black Lightning to begin with. I always knew he was a cheap knockoff of Power Man. It was DC's version of Power Man. And he was more, stereotypically, but yeah. What
it looks corny. Well, no, this is the 2009 Black Lightning, and this is
what is the 1975 Black Lightning?
There was no 1975 Black Lightning. It was in the 80s though.
Oh, he came out in the 80s?
Yeah.
DC was a little late on the Black superhero.
It may be one, but I have yet to. I mean, let me not just say that like that's fact. But I don't. Okay. The furthest back I found was 19. It was in the 80s.
Well, I found that the series actually was intriguing. It was actually not that bad. So maybe I had low expectations. I don't know.
It's on the CW, and right now the CW has all of the DC, characters, and I think it's interesting because what DC is doing with the CW, it's sort of like, we've got this television, we've got the comics, and then we've got the movies. None of these three characters will ever be played by the same person. Or we'll have the same style of writing or storyline. So this will be a little bit different than the comic book, which is kind of hard to read because it's some unnecessary ebonics and other things in it.
Oh yeah.
And the plot lines are kind of watered down. So I think this will be
put in the comic books, right?
Yeah. So I think the dialogue on the television is going to have some corny moments because it is a comic book. But if you look at it from the standpoint of I'm watching a comic show, then you'll see how cheesy the Kingpin character is, but it's just like the comic. So you kind of need that. You kind of need him to be creepy like he is.
Yeah, the albino dude?
Yeah, the albino dude. You need him to be that because it matches the character that they're trying to go after. So overall, I'm going to watch it just because I like it. But
here's the problem I have with it, though, Drew. They have it playing at the same time as Blackish.
Yeah. Oh,
that I don't like.
And you know what? 90% of the time, I'm going to watch it on the CW app. Just like I watch all the other, I watch Legends, DC Legends and Flash. And if I do choose to watch Arrow, which I've never gotten into. But when I watch those shows, I watch them on the CW app or on, something like who watches the CW fresh? CW, if you wake up and you looking forward to a CW show.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, it's still the WB. The racist frog still comes out and,
Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling.
That's me. Yeah. So, because this is the same people who put out Homeboys from Outer Space. I have no great expectations.
We'll never.
No, that was UPN.
Same people. It's not, but still same people. It's not, but still same people. CW,
UPN was worse than WB. UPN was terrible, man. WB had, Steve Harvey's show, Jamie Foxx show.
The Wayne's brothers.
UPN had the what's the name from Outer Space? They had the whole And then they have the one about
Desmond, the Desmond guy.
Desmond Pfeiffer.
Yes.
Yeah. UPN was horrible.
And Malcolm and Eddie.
I like Malcolm and Eddie. That was
What's up,
WB,
Chris?
wasn't it?
No, that was UPN. They had Moesha.
See, the line is blurred, sir.
It is
The
blurred.
lines are blurred.
It is.
All right, so also on television, man, I caught a new show. It's been out for a few weeks now, and it's called 911. It grabs your attention. It's Angela Bassett stars in it. She's also one of the producers of the show.
It's a good show.
So I liked it.
I don't think it's gonna make it. I don't think it's gonna make it. You know, it's a good show, but I don't know if it's gonna attract that many viewers.
Yeah, it may not, and I don't know what time slot it's placed. I actually caught it on Hulu, so like I like it.
They have it in place where right now Empire is on hiatus, and they have it in place of Empire.
Oh, okay.
And before that, the X-Files comes on.
So why come they didn't just put Star in its place?
No. They took Star's place. Empire comes on at 7 Central.
Well, that's true.
So Star is still a running show then.
It's a running show, but it's not being played right now because Stars and Empire kind of go together.
Yeah, I was just hoping it would go away.
It's not going away, man. Stop hating on my show, man. I love Star.
It also makes me feel like Beloved after seeing it.
Now you're going to make me feel some type of way.
You should. You should.
Why?
Anyway.
I love Queen Latifah. She's a great actress.
Back to 911. So
don't you love Queen Latifah?
It's about first responders, and we've seen 1,000,001 different shows about first responders, but this one seems to go more in depth. Angela Bassett is one of the main characters. She's dealing with her husband, who has got some issues with his sexuality, which I feel like this isn't.
Always
I was just about to say that because my wife was like, "Is he like that for real?" I was like, "I don't know."
Rockman Dunbar, that's his name.
Rockman.
No,
I thought it was Rockwell Dunbar.
No, dude, that's another. That's a singer that said somebody's watching me.
The
lines are blurred again.
the lines are blurred.
So
blurred lines.
Yeah.
Rockman, he always plays a role where he's wrestling with his sexuality.
Yeah.
Every single role. The only one he didn't was when he was on the Soul Food TV show. They need to bring that back.
In the Tyler Perry movie, where he was married to what's McGruff? Love basketball.
And he knocked her over the counter. Remember that?
Well, any man that's in a Tyler Perry movie has wrestled with his sexuality at some point.
Or wrestled somebody of the same sex.
You knocked that one out the park.
Get your hands off me.
You want this role?
You're never the same once you work with Tyler Perry.
Yeah. He was oiled up and he made me wrestle. Anyway. All right. So.
Get your hands off me, Tyler.
He's like, me too.
We cannot mock that movement, man.
I'm not mocking it, man. I'm just saying it's a matter of time for somebody to come out on Tyler, man. It's a matter of time.
Nah, I think somebody's done that before. So
really?
All right. So
it's a matter.
All right, we're done with television news.
We went down some dangerous roads.
Yeah, we did. All right, so in the NFL, we just recently had our first week 100% free of our teams because, I'm sorry. The Titans did play this week, didn't they? And you went. Yeah, I'm sorry. Let's get a recap of the Titans game. You see he's got on his Titans colors.
I see that.
Let's go ahead. Tighten up on your backstroke. Go ahead.
Well, you are one dedicated fan, sir.
This is a UConn hat, and this is an Oklahoma City Thunder jacket. Oh. What are you talking about? I don't
see nothing that says OKC on that, man.
I kind of
I see Titan colors, baby.
Well, the Titans season ended on Saturday with a 35-14 loss to the New England Patriots. Titans got out to a 7-0 lead, and then Tom Brady woke up.
The Patriots. That means
Tom Brady woke up.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, you could be up 17, Falcons, and I'm still going to beat you.
Or 25, 28-3. Never forget.
Doesn't matter. That's why I hate the Patriots. That's why I hate them. They always win, man.
The Patriots won, and they will face the Jacksonville Jaguars, who defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers 45-42. I believe the Steelers were looking ahead to a rematch with New England and didn't pay any attention to Jacksonville. They were in a 21-0 hole, and they were fighting back the entire game. And Blake Bortles, who said he's getting hated on just like LeBron James,
Yeah. Okay.
he's headed to the AFC Championship.
Yeah. No.
To take on
I don't think they're gonna get past New England though.
No, well, I think that Jacksonville has a better chance of getting past them just because they have an efficient pass rush, and that's Tom Brady's old, and at the end of the day, he kind of needs to be able to will his way against a weaker defense. They've got a young pass rush, and I believe they might get after him. I don't believe they win this game. I don't believe Jacksonville has a shot based off of Blake Bortles. Like, they're gonna win despite him. You know, like he's kind of like just in the way there. Like, it's sort of like when the Ravens were able to beat Tom Brady. Good, solid pass rush. They were able to get to him. So anybody who's beating him, they're beating him with a pass rush, and it just so happens that that's Jacksonville's strong suit. Not to mention, Jacksonville is coached well, and they have a seasoned playoff coach where, you know, right now maybe things really are kind of bad in New England. Maybe Boston, you know, everything ain't great in Boston right now. So I'm hoping that we have a Blake Bortles, you know, what's the dude?
Case Keenum.
It would be nice if the Patriots were not in the Super Bowl this year.
Oh, it would be. I mean, fulfill.
I don't think it's gonna happen, but it definitely would be nice.
Yeah, it would be the highlight of the Super Bowl, because other than that, I'm pretty ticked off. I'm totally separate rant. Just giving you a warning. I'm kind of ticked off that Janet Jackson doesn't get a chance to redeem herself, but, you know, here we go with Justin Timberlake. So he can just pull nipples out, and then all of a sudden he can get a second chance, but here we go.
What are you gonna pull out this time?
You know, but yet she gets demonized, and she's sitting over in the corner. I don't know whether to be mad because of race or just because of just this is what we do with our women. Like,
he's gonna bring her back.
He better. I feel like he needs to.
I think that's the big surprise, is that she's gonna be back.
I hope.
I put money on it. That's what's going to happen.
I think the people who
NSYNC is coming back with him probably.
I think the people who do put money on it want to make sure she doesn't come back, because they targeted her as the evil one, and so if she comes back, it might be a downfall for the NFL, especially.
And she did nothing wrong.
She did
absolutely
the one that
ripped it off. She was just standing there, and he ripped everything off, and she's like, "Hey, man, I didn't say rip all of it off, idiot."
Well, I think it was planned, because most people don't just go out the house with a pasty on like that. So it was something planned. But, I don't know. Totally separate. I got us completely off track. That was a totally separate conversation.
Okay. I love this conversation.
Yeah, anytime I can bring that up.
It's a great conversation, sir.
But with the NFL, that's pretty much that the Vikings game. You got to feel bad for this kid, because I don't think it's going to be Bill Buckner status, but the Saints.
Nick Anderson.
Yeah. I think the Saints. He's
not Leon Lett. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah. At least didn't they still win that game though?
Yeah, they would have had the most points in Super Bowl history.
Not that one where they played the Dolphins.
Oh, on Thanksgiving, but they still won the Super Bowl that same year.
We ain't talking about that. We're talking about that game, sir. That game where that fool went rumbling, stumbling, touched the ball.
What do you care? You're a Tennessee Titan fan.
Yeah, really?
And do the origins go? Or does it go back to? Does it go back to being a Houston Oiler fan? Like, are you that thick with it? Does it go that deep?
No.
Yeah.
This goes back to marriage.
Petty.
That's his team-in-law.
Petty in the All-Stars.
Yeah. Well, it's worth a good hood debate. I was on Facebook the other day, and I can't remember his name. It's like Tony Williams, something like that. But he's a Cowboy fan in Tulsa, and he posted.
My boy Tony. I went to high school with him.
He posted, "Can you have another team?" Of course, I gave my opinion, and I told him, "No, you cannot have another team." It's like me saying, "Hey, I got another wife." For when my wife is out of town or when my wife is tired, you cannot have another team.
But, hey, I'm from Chicago, so I'm gonna always pull for my Chicago teams.
And that's it. But you cannot have.
I live in Oklahoma though.
So you're allowed to be a Cowboy fan. You cannot have another NFL team other than your team, sir.
Are we talking NFL or just all the way around?
Of course, we're talking NFL. Yeah, like
if it's the NFL, okay, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. But
Yeah.
if it's basketball, I can have as many teams as I want.
Well, no, you can only have Oklahoma City Thunder because you live in Oklahoma.
No. I'm from Chicago though, so I'm always root for the Bulls.
Well, I'll put to you like this: I'm okay with you being a Thunder fan, but you're a guest. You know.
You've been a guest all
You
10
don't even live
seasons.
here anymore, man.
Yeah, I need to be quiet because by association, I would be a Portland Trailblazer fan now, right?
I think you got on a Damian Lillard shirt under that hoodie.
He said you a guest.
No, I mean, but it's just talking about NFL. The question was just for the NFL. No, I don't agree that you can put on a Steelers hat after your team loses and root for them, or you
Yeah,
just can't.
Jay. He doesn't believe that.
But that's once again totally
That's
separate.
all directed towards you, sir.
So,
He has nothing to say. If that was me,
Married
he'd
to
be
the game,
arguing me
baby.
down.
Yeah.
Married to the game.
So the
Whatever.
other thing coming out of NFL is the Steelers let go of their offensive coordinator Todd Haley, which is also the Kansas City Chiefs ex football coach. He knows his football. He's a brilliant football coach. He's just not a winner as a head coach. He'll probably land a job somewhere else. But the big issue is people say Ben Roethlisberger is behind this, and now there's this whole like clips from all throughout the year where apparently Ben's been throwing shade at this dude all year long, and we just maybe haven't noticed it or just didn't care. So is this the beginning of the demise of the Pittsburgh Steelers, or is it downhill? Because typically when a team starts firing people because a quarterback wants you to, that's not a good look. And then Ben's on his way out the door. He at best he's got one more year. So, and how will this play into the Le'Veon Bell thing?
Does Mike still have his job? Does Thomas still have his job?
For
He
now,
still got his job right now.
yeah,
Okay, well, I'm cool.
yeah.
Hey, if
And
they fire
that's the-
Marvin Lewis still got his job, so Mike Tomlin still got his job.
Yeah,
So if Thomas still got his job, I'm good.
yeah.
Now, that may sound some type of way, but I don't care.
And welcome. And that's Raw Dog with the Black Man Report. Thomas still got a job. We good. Back to you, Mike. All right. So for me, this is one of those times where it seems like a lot is going on in the NFL. So it's time for us to talk about another sport, to get into something else. And anytime we get to that place where it's time for us to add some depth to the show, we call on Jesse, right?
We
Need
need
Jesse.
We
We need Jesse.
Oh my God, we gotta
Brother
change
Jesse,
that.
Yeah, we heard you try to give us
That don't.
another name for the show. We're gonna just roll with We Need Jesse. Like,
Yeah, that's fine. That's
I
fine.
mean,
Hope with
it was unique. I like the
No.
cadence and everything. It was nice. Jabs with Jesse, but we're good.
Is that what he said? Is that what he told you?
that's what Jay came up with.
Yeah,
Jabs with Jesse is what he said.
The weekly jab with Jesse.
weekly jabs.
Okay.
No, Jesse
okay,
came
gotcha.
up with that, man. I said we need Jesse.
That's
All right.
terrible.
So last week, I got a chance to see some of the clips. I didn't get a chance to see the entire fight yet, but Clarissa Shields pretty much whipped on somebody's auntie, and like whipped her bad. Like it was ugly.
Yeah.
Oh, she looked
Yeah,
like
it was
somebody's
pretty
aunt.
horrible.
She looked like like an older Manny Fresh type woman.
Oh,
So, all right. So
Studley.
tell us about the match and some of the other matches you told us about.
All right. Sorry, Phil. I'm getting a little bit of a poor connection here, but can y'all still hear me pretty good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, with the Clarissa Shields fight versus Tori Nelson, Aunt Tori, that's what we're gonna call her since Drew said she likes somebody's auntie. But you ain't lying though. It's like Drew said, it was pretty much a beat down from the beginning of the bell. What's crazy is both Tori Nelson and Clarissa Shields were undefeated going into the fight. But the main thing was that, Clarissa Shields pretty much controlled the fight with her jab the whole night, putting together some good combinations. and everything like that. Tori Nelson was tough. I mean, she took the beating and she just kept coming. It was just pretty crazy to see that. But at the end of the day, it was just too much. The only downside to the fight was that there wasn't a KO, it wasn't a knockout. It did go all 10 rounds. And that's the only knock right now on Clarissa Shields is all of her fights so far, where she's only had 5. Has all ended. Has all ended in unanimous decision. I'll take that back, except for one, and it was a TKO instead of an actual KO. So that's the only knock on her is that she doesn't have any knockout power, but she is a sound fighter, has various skills.
Can I just say that Tori Nelson looks like her name should be Gladys?
Yeah. Yeah.
Looks like Gladys.
Yeah, it was pretty terrible.
Or a Betty.
I saw a picture of her and I was like, that's Gladys.
Gladys or Betty. Yeah.
Auntie Gladys. There you go. Other than that, like I said, as far as the boxing goes, as far as that fight, like I said, right now, Clarissa Shields is 5-0. Her next opponent that she's looking to try to fight is Christina Hammer. I don't know a lot about her. I know she is undefeated as well. I think she's 21-0 with 9 knockouts. I know that Clarissa Shields will have to come down in weight to actually fight her and everything like that. But she's been at the last 2 or 3 Clarissa Shields fights that has happened. So I'm guessing she's really wanting to get that fight pretty bad. So I don't know why she wants to get whooped so badly, but that's what she's looking for. So I would say that would probably be Clarissa Shields' next fight. She said she didn't mind going down in weight to fight her. But we'll see how it goes.
Clarissa looked like Angela Bassett, boy. She looked tough. She like a broke down Angela Bassett.
Yeah, Drew. Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Great value, Angela Bassett.
More like
maybe it's my class.
Anyway, so terrible. The other review is was from the UFC event that happened this past weekend as well, Sunday. That was the UFC Fight Night that I was telling you guys about. Jeremy Stevens versus Duho Choi. Y'all's boy.
Choi. Sounds like a man.
That's terrible. The fight started out pretty solid. Duho Choi, it was a pretty solid fight in the beginning, but Jeremy Stevens just proved to be too much. Duho Choi just couldn't take the onslaught of elbows that came down in the I think it was the second round, which he lost by KO. So your boy Duho Choi, I mean, just keep on a look at him. He's still a pretty good fighter, but Jeremy Stevens was just too much. I did tell y'all about the Uriah Hall versus Vitor Belfort fight. That fight ended up getting scrapped last minute because Uriah Hall, which has been a big problem in MMA, is he tried to cut too much weight, and his weight cut didn't go too well, and he ended up being hospitalized. They say he ended up possibly having, I think it was like a stroke or something like that. It was really weird. Or a heart attack or something crazy.
How do you cut? How are they cutting their weight? Like what are some of the methods that people use?
It depends on the fighter and the nutritionist if he has one or his fight camp. A lot of guys throughout the camp, they'll a lot of guys. Okay, say if you come in, you're fighting at 175. That's what the weight class is supposed to be. A lot of guys are walking around about 180, 190. Some guys even walking around solid 200. What they try to do is throughout the fight camp is just try to slowly lose those pounds. Some people can do it easier than others, but then when the fight weeks come, the week before the fight, during the fight, what'll happen is they'll do their most extreme weight cut. They'll take out certain foods. They won't drink as much water. And then the night before weight cut or the day before or the day of weight cut is that when they really just knock out everything, and then they'll probably go in a sauna, put on a sauna suit, probably do some rounds of, light sparring, grappling, stuff like that. And it's like I said, it's one of the big problems in MMA right now is people just trying too hard to cut the day of or the night before. I've tried it before when I fought. It's not fun whatsoever. It's really tough to do. So that's why it's good to have a good nutritionist going in and fight around your weight. I mean, that's the biggest thing. People are not doing that. Guys are not doing that. They're fighting way lower because they want to have the strength. They want to have the upper hand. and it just doesn't work out most times. So, like I said, that fight ended up getting scrapped because of that, um, and so on and so forth.
All right. You got anything?
Imagine not eating, man. I can't even imagine that.
Not eating.
Yeah, yeah.
Why you laughing, Drew? I didn't say that to be funny, yet you're laughing. Oh,
Well, you were so curious, like you were really looking like it was just baffling. You were like, no, you don't put food in your mouth, like at all, like so it wasn't.
I can't even imagine that. But that's just me, man.
But so what else you got? Is that all you got for us this week, Jesse?
No, actually, the last thing is the upcoming UFC event, which is probably one of the big events of the weekend. Probably one of the first big events of the year, which is UFC 220, which would be this Saturday. I don't know where it's going to be. It may be Las Vegas, but I'm not too sure. But it's a heavyweight title fight between Stipe Miocic, say that 3 times fast, and Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou, a brother, you know what I'm saying? Africa represent. He's probably one of the up-and-coming fighters in the UFC, heavyweight. I don't know if you've seen his last fight, but his last fight was with Alistair Overeem, and it's probably one of the greatest knockouts you ever see. It was called the uppercut from Hades. Yeah, I mean, if you get a chance to watch it, definitely check it out. I mean, it was a vicious uppercut. I mean, I don't think I would ever get up from anything like that. That could put you in the hospital. But yeah, he's probably one of the best guys coming up. So he's gonna. I think I give him the edge in this fight. Stipe Miocic, he's from Cleveland. What's funny is he ran his title around the same time that Cleveland Cavaliers won theirs. So it's a big time for Cleveland and everything like that. He's a great striker as well. So like I said, that should be a good event coming up. On the undercard of that is another big fight. Your boy from Oklahoma State is Daniel Cormier. As y'all know, his last fight with John Bone Jones didn't end out well for him. He ended up getting knocked out in the 3rd round. I think that is. And he was doing.
he cried too. He went.
Yeah.
Like a baby back.
he is the crying meme that took over for Jordan in Jamel or J Rock. Sorry.
No one will ever.
Jay's is on forever, baby.
Yeah. So
that's like some stamps. That's some forever stamps.
Now the crazy thing about it is his last fight with John Jones unfortunately got overturned to a no contest because John Jones got caught up for testing positive for some banned substance. I think it was some steroid. I can't remember which one it was. Right now, John.
Is he the one that's always caught up in something like that? It seems like his name is always connected with getting caught up in some banned stuff.
Yeah, John Jones, Jamel can attest, or sorry, J Rock once again. He can attest to this. He is, he's probably one of the most talented guys in the UFC of all time right now. But I mean, like I said, his out of the octagon habits are just horrible, and it's just not helping him out at all. So that title is now vacant, and so that's what this title fight is. Daniel Cormier is fighting once again for the title to reclaim it. His only losses are to John Jones. He lost to him twice, but like I said, the second one was turned over to be a no contest, so it doesn't really count towards his record or anything like that.
John Jones should just be an action star, man, and do what Rampage is doing. Be in the movies. You can do all the drugs you want.
Yeah, well, what's funny about John Jones, real quick, guys, is that here recently he just did a polygraph. I don't know who's administered his polygraph. I think it might have been the Nevada State Athletic Commission. I can't remember, but he actually passed it, saying that he did not know that he took a banned substance. So he was unknowledgeable that he actually took a banned substance.
He was telling the truth.
Yeah, the polygraph said he was telling the truth about that. I don't know what that's going to do for him technically, but we shall see. If he does, the Nevada State Athletic Commission does turn it over. I really honestly doubt. I mean, I take that back. UFC will probably take him back. I mean, he's just that much of an exciting fighter, so who knows. But other than that, guys, that's really about it. That's all I have for boxing and UFC news and MMA news. We don't have anything else of worth to mention right now. There is a Bellator event coming up, but it's Rampage Jackson, and you know where he's at now. He's just terrible. He's old. Need to give it up.
Rampage is still fighting?
Yeah, he's fighting. It's actually the same night as the UFC event. I can't.
It's gonna be miraculous and be okay with that, man.
Yeah.
Indeed.
All right,
Other than that, that's it, fellas.
All right, appreciate it. We needed Jesse, and Jesse came through.
We need Jesse.
We need Jesse.
Run, Jesse, run.
That's so
all right.
terrible,
So
you guys have a good one, man.
All right, you too. All right, so it's time for us to talk about the NBA and everything that's going on around the NBA. Also, just a quick side note, while Jesse was talking, I looked it up that UFC 220 is going to be in Boston. So make sure you check that out. And in the NBA, we've got the All-Star ballots all wrapped up, and we know who the starters are. So, you know, we got to go through this just because, you know, we're not like Fox News around here. We are fair and, you know, whatever.
Fake news.
He said Fox News.
All right, so
we're fair and biased, baby.
Yeah, fair and biased.
And biased.
All right, what you got, J-Rock? Who's in the All-Star? Who's the All-Star starters?
Okay, out east we have Kyrie Irving and DeMar DeRozan. They're in the backcourt. The front court is the Greek Freak, LeBron James, and Joel Embiid for the East. Out west in the backcourt, they picked to start Steph Curry and James Harden. And then in the front court, they have the New Orleans Nightmares, Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins, and number 35. That is the starters for the Western Conference.
I feel like, yeah, you know, I can't argue with any of those people being starters. Like, it is very odd to me, though, that Boogie and, you know, Anthony Davis got in. Like, two people from a supposedly small market team were able to get in. And so that kind of tells me there must be some sort of, you know, there must be something going on down there in New Orleans that, at least from a money standpoint, maybe you do keep both players around, even though I know that.
How does Boogie get in? I don't understand. He ain't done nothing no different than he's ever done.
Did you see when he traveled? I'm not traveled, but he had that stupid turnover, and then Cantor dunked on him. Like, you got to look it up.
That.
Cantor dunked on him, and
it was ridiculous.
Then looked him in the eye.
But he's the All-Star though.
Yeah, New Orleans people must have just like only voted on the days when it was like double the votes or whatever, because I just don't see that, you know, like I just don't see that we couldn't get, and I don't know, man. I feel like Russ, because they're not doing it like point guard, shooting guard. I don't see where Russ maybe shouldn't have been in there, but you know, people didn't vote. So,
well, I mean, like one of my buddies who used to comment on the top five, he was like, it's a travesty that the reigning MVP didn't get picked. I'm like, you got to realize that Steph Curry, he's nationwide,
worldwide.
He's in the top. He's in a worldwide. He's in a top 10 market in the Oakland, San Francisco area. James Harden's in the top 5 in the Houston area. So they're going to get those picks. And, you know, and Russ is in a small market in Oklahoma City. That's the same with Victor Oladipo. A lot of people were mad that he got stubbed for a starter spot over DeMar DeRozan. They both have been playing well this season, but DeMar DeRozan has the entire country of Canada and Toronto voting for him, while Victor Oladipo is in a small market just like Russell Westbrook.
Yeah. Well, but that's the thing. It's like, so you mean to tell me a small market in New Orleans could somehow pull off getting 2 All-Stars voted in? Like,
well,
that?
they both. Well, who else in the West in the front court is good? I mean, maybe Draymond Green, but Anthony Davis, when he's not hurt, he's one of the top 10 players in the NBA. And then Boogie Cousins,
no.
You know, who else you got? DeAndre Jordan, you know, who can't even hit a free throw.
Yeah. I mean, now if this was deserving, which it's not, this is about fan vote, and I'm not going to be mad about it because fans have the right to vote how they want. But if it was about people who deserve it, Steven Adams deserves to be a starter. Deserves it. I mean, he's putting up the numbers. Now, am I biased? Yes.
Yes.
But I feel like my statement is fair. So therefore, I feel like he's played well enough to where if you put him up against Boogie, yeah, he ain't. He's probably not even gonna make the All-Star game altogether. But I feel like he should get a nod, because he's a good center.
I can't get over Boogie. I just can't get over him being picked, man. He is a walking psychological nightmare right now. Well, how did he get picked? And he's not doing anything different than he did in Sacramento.
Well, he's not causing trouble like he used to.
So because he ain't causing trouble, let's make him an all-star.
And I'll put you like this: at the end of the day, he's probably still getting the Sacramento Bay Area votes, and now he's getting the votes down there where he's at. So, he's a star. People like him, and even internationally, he made a little bit of leeway during the Olympics. So. He's got a little bit of star power. Up close, I'm just not overly impressed with his game. But it wasn't.
And they're also in the 6th seed in the West right now.
But what about if you say who's more deserving? What about the kid up in Denver? Was it Djokovic?
Djokovic.
And then the kid, the other guy down here in Portland. There's some centers doing all right in the game. I feel like maybe could have got a vote before Boogie if it was deserving. If it was a deserving thing. So somebody gotta say something. So I guess I'll just keep talking and fill up the space. All right, but what about the East? What about the East?
Oh yeah, Carl, I forgot about.
Now I'll put to you like this: he deserves it definitely. Now,
yeah,
definitely.
I mean, I don't understand how he gets passed over for DeMarcus Cousins, man. That's crazy.
It's a popularity vote, man.
It is.
Carl Anthony Towns got a jump shot, man. Did y'all know that?
Yeah.
He's a center with a jump shot.
And he's made his own way. He's never relied on the fact that he's Will Smith's son. He's never tried to play that card. And I like him for that.
Yo, for son, I was like, for real? And Will be getting around.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think Boogie should be in there. At the most, he should have been on the bench, not a starter. Carl Anthony Towns should have gotten that.
And so this is where it gets fun because LeBron James is the captain of the East and Steph Curry is the captain of the West. So then that's when they do the playground rules and they pick the teams. And the thing where the NBA has dropped the ball is they're not gonna make this a public like the NHL does. They're going to keep it as a secret, which to me, I feel like they're dropping the ball right there.
Why even do that? Because if you want us to believe that that's really what's happening, no, you've got to do it where it's almost like a draft show or something like make
it's
an
event.
Yeah.
Why would you not make it an event?
I would rather see that than the actual dunk contest this year.
True.
I feel like they should do it during the dunk contest, so at least they know the day before whose team is going. What team they're going to be on? And like I said,
if it's real playground,
Russing.
So y'all just gonna talk at the same time? Is that what y'all gonna do?
My bad.
Now, if it's real playground rules, then that's what happens. You don't show up to the court with your set team. Somebody call game, and they call you on, and you want to run, you run. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, it's kind of corny.
There's some trickery involved in this.
Yeah.
I don't like how this is going down. They gotta do it in secrecy. There's gotta be some trickery.
Trickery?
Trickery.
Oh, I thought you said no. I wasn't challenging trickery. I thought you said if they had to do it in secrecy, but you said in secret. I was like secrecy. Dude, up here.
I was trying to rhyme. They do it in secrecy, then it's trickery. No, I wasn't trying to do that.
Yeah, it didn't rhyme really.
Raw dog with them hot bars. I see.
Well,
he does it. All right, so what do we got? Thunda Talk, man. It's time for us to get down with a little bit of Thunda Talk before we get up out of here. And
we won last night. That's a good thing.
And so we should have won. That's one of those games where it's like we cannot lose against the Lakers, like who will be a good team soon. One day, I can see it. Like it's like when they hit certain shots, you can see that they are well coached. Jay, are you scratching your leg? Like you getting really into it? Oh, okay.
You scratching something, bro.
Tough acting
Hey,
to
man.
acting over there. All right.
Dun.
You got eczema or something?
Just
All right, man. Stop scratching, dude.
just fish scales everywhere, all on the ground. Man.
You making us uncomfortable, man. Cut it out.
Oh,
Now go wash
man.
your hands. Go wash your hands.
All
Give me
right.
some hand sanitizer.
All right, but yeah, I think the Thunder are one of those teams where it's gonna make us mad. They're gonna make the playoffs, but it's sort of like, whether it's gonna be. It's funny because seeds, pretty much 5 through 9 are like within 1 or 2 games of each other. They're all pretty much the same caliber of team, and I think the Thunder. It's funny because we bragged about the second unit on this show, and now all of a sudden the second unit seems like they can't really quite get some of the some of their stuff
Second
together.
unit.
Yeah, and I don't know what's going on with them, but I hopefully things will return back to normal. Pete the Puma is back. We'll have that defensive presence, and I think some of those bench players have gotten to a place now where they have gotten enough. They've gotten enough time, with the ball, and hopefully Terrence Ferguson can be a piece that we can look forward to, like a young James Harden was. Like someone who can come off the bench and not exactly like Harden was back then, but something to that extent where it's like, okay, when he comes off the bench, he could very well be a starter. Or you never know, he could take over the game. He could light some stuff up. So I like what I'm saying.
I don't see us getting past the second round. I
Nah.
see us getting past the first round, but not the second round.
This isn't a second round team at this point. And it all depends on who we get. I think if it's the luck of the draw, and I feel like we actually have a legit shot, believe it or not, at beating Houston. Because I think there's one thing that we'll have come playoff time, and I think that's we will have more unity than some people think. And Chris Paul is still Chris Paul. Now, he's a great player and all, but there's something about his leadership that I don't know if it will mesh well come playoff time with a team who, no one's won. And it's sort of like what the problem that they had with him, the same problem they had with him in L.A. Who you yelling at? You ain't won anything either. So I think he's going to run across the same same leadership issues. At the end of the day, Trevor Ariza's the only one in your locker room that's won something.
And that's saying a lot.
And you sending him in the locker room to fight. So
Yeah.
It should be him putting you in the go, Chris.
Yeah.
Hit Austin in the face.
Trevor's not a goon. He's
No.
not material. Bless his
No.
heart.
So
He got act. It's just messed up, man.
yeah. So I'm happy with what the Thunder are doing right now, man. I think Carmelo. I've noticed the Carmelo rule, and I want y'all to pay attention to this. If Carmelo get the rebound, he's taking the shot. He has calmed down, but he has a rule, and pay close attention. If he gets the rebound, he's taking the shot. I watched that happen like 10 times yesterday. Every time he got a rebound, it was like, I'm taking the shot. It was either he came down and didn't even think, or he gave it to Raymond Felton and demanded it back once he got the position he wanted.
Like, if I get the rebound, I deserve to shoot it.
It's that old man mentality. Look here, young fellas. If I get that rebound, I'm shooting. Like, that's it. That's pretty much his attitude.
All right, Carmelo.
Yeah.
He led the team in scoring last night. He had 27.
Yeah, but where Lala at, though? Yeah.
Shooting power.
Yeah.
She's shooting a lot of stuff, too.
All right, so it's time for us to... With that being said, it's time for our final cut. J-Rock.
All right. This Sunday, the Minnesota Vikings, they have a tough task. They're going to the number 1 seeded Philadelphia Eagles with a chance to do something that no one in NFL history has done. That is host a game in the Super Bowl. The 49ers, they came close back in 85, but that stadium was 30 minutes away. But you got to look at what happened on Sunday. Case Keenum, an undrafted player out of Houston, threw a pass to Stephon Diggs for 61 yards, and they scored a touchdown. Minnesota, they've had a lot of heartbreak in their entire time. The Brett Favre 09 game where he threw the ball across the field and got intercepted against the Saints. 98 when Gary Anderson missed the chip shot field goal. And even 2016 where Brett Walsh missed the chip shot field goal against Seattle in the playoffs. So to me, I feel like, Luck is on the side of the Vikings this year. They have a strong defense. They have a great run game with Latavius Murray, and I feel like they're going to beat the Eagles, and they're going to go host the Super Bowl in their home field on their home field against the New England Patriots on Sunday. And I'm one for the, I'm a Cowboy guy, Titans fan sometimes, but I feel like it's that time for the Vikings to go to the Super Bowl. And like I always say every week, winners win and losers lose. And they always find a way to do what they do. It's your boy, the boss, J-Rock, and I'm out.
Hey, there's talkers and there's doers. Which one are you? I don't ever want to be that one guy that's always telling people what he's going to do and yet never gets anything done. Sometimes it's best not to say anything, or at least, watch who you're saying it to. Because believe it or not, there are those who are out there that pray for your downfall. So you got to be careful who you share your dreams and your wants with. You know what I mean? Keep your inner circle with you real close. And don't talk so much about it. Be about it. Do it. Get it done. Sometimes it's best to move in silence than to move with a whole lot of noise. So that when you finally get to where you got to get to, you don't have anything else to say. But if you're constantly talking about what you're going to do in 2018, it turns from I'm going to do this in 2018 to I'm going to still do it in 2019. And by 2025, you're still talking about doing it. Just do it. Don't talk about it. Just do it. Move in silence. That's how you should go about it. With that being said, don't tell God about your big problems. Tell your big problems you got a big... No. Don't tell God about your big problems. Tell your problems you got a big God. I'm Raw Dog, and I'm out.
All right. So this past week was Martin Luther King Day, and one of my favorite holidays. It was one of the first times since I've lived here that I've really had that moment like, man, crap, I really miss Tulsa, because no matter how cold it was, I sat out there on the corner of Greenwood and Greenwood. Don't know why the signs intersect like that, but I sat right there and I would always sit on the same exact corner. Me and the homie Chico would sit there, and we would just watch everybody walk by. And before they moved the parade there, we would be down on Cincinnati and Greenwood, or not Greenwood, but Cincinnati and Pine. And we've always just loved watching the parade. And this is my first year just having to watch it streaming. And, it was fun seeing all of the usual suspects walking down the street having fun. And so to me, that was a really big deal. And then I got a chance to later on, after I got done with that, do something that I felt like was like one of the most important things in the world to me, is that I get a chance to do another podcast, and I do it with an older white lady. And it's fun because when we do that, we're two people who have no reason to ever cross the street. We never have a reason to talk to each other according to society standards, but we love each other and we have a lot to talk about, and we love living life together, and we get a chance to do that and put it on full display. And this isn't a shameless plug for that show, because I didn't say the name of it, but what I am saying is you definitely have to cross the street this week and find someone and learn to love them despite the differences you might have with them, or whatever on the surface says that you two can't be together. Find someone and break past the color barrier or whatever barrier is there, and go out and love someone new and do something new and let it change you, all right? Remember, hate can't drive out hate. Only love can do that. Thank you for listening to the Barbershop 918. Make sure you check us out at
TheBarbershop918.com. That's how we roll, baby. You can find us on Twitter, on Facebook, on Buzzsprout, on Instagram. Everywhere that it's on these social media, you're going to find us. If you can't find us and you ain't looking for us, and you probably need to be looking for us, because we're pretty good at this. We've been doing this for how many shows? 92? This is 92? We've been doing this for a little bit.
91.
91? You know what we're doing, man. So, Barbershop 918. That's how we roll, baby.
Hey,
rest in peace to Kashif.
Has it been a year now?
It's been a year.
Has it? Hey,
man,
so
why are we smiling, man? That's a somber moment. There's no reason for us to be smiling.
I was trying to move on.
God, okay? You know this.
Yeah. I was giving myself
David Ruffin.
I was giving myself a correction. Jay, what do you call it when we correct ourselves on the show?
Retraction.
No, thank
It's
you,
not a
Rob.
retraction.
Thank you. No, that's not what we call it. We gave it a name. Like we gave it an actual name when we at the beginning. We used to do it at the beginning of the show.
Jay, what is it?
I
I
forgot now.
forgot. I
But
forgot.
you gave me the old regular news name for it, but we're not real journalists. But no,
We're not.
1977 was the premiere of Black Lightning through DC,
I
and
thought so.
and it was brought to DC from a writer that they stole from the Luke Cage series. So
Really?
yes,
Thief.
See,
yeah.
man. That's why I wasn't down with Black Lightning. I was always about Power Man, dude. I was always about Luke Cage.
Yeah.
I can't wait till that come back. Oh, Atlanta's coming back. March 3rd?
March 1st.
March 1st. Can't wait. Can't wait. Great show. I still remember funny things from that show that even when I think about it, I crack up. Like the invisible car.
I'm about to go downstairs and watch that episode.
With the invisible car.
Uh-huh.
That was so bizarre, but so funny.
All right.
Looking forward to seeing Atlanta, man.
All
Shout
right.
out to what's his name? Childish
Donald
Gambino.
Glover.
Savion Glover.
What's his name?
That's his uncle.
The dude that be tapping. Where's he at? That was one strange looking brother, boy. He looked like a light skinned Sasquatch.
We out.